Welcome to week 5 of the 2021 NFL season. Um, this might seem like a little bit of a weird video. I'm posting something on a Monday, but I just figured we'd do a little review on some of the lineups that I made to try and see what I went wrong, what you can take from these lineups. And then obviously, what can I put into next week to try to make better lineups. And then also we're going to do a little bit of a first look. I know I typically post towards the end of the week, just doing my top 5 of each position. But we're going to do a first look just to kind of see what the slate's looking like, what some games right off the bat I'm going to be targeting, some ones I'm going to really look forward to, really getting some ownership there and some exposure. So we're going to take a look at that. But let's first go ahead and start with some of these entries here. Don't mind some of the zeros. I'm playing in a huge, big tournament GPP here. Going against 118,000 other people, and then obviously going against 28,000. I'm probably going to stick to hopefully this week some of the single entries, lower contests, because I do think I have a chance of winning some money through them. Whereas with these, you kind of have to get everything right, and it's tough to do. So we'll first look at. We'll look at this lineup here. We'll put up 152.14 points. Wasn't too bad. But like I said, in this tournament, 152 only gets you the $5 that I did. So you're just min cashing, unfortunately. But I did have Lamar Jackson here. I had Lamar Jackson, stacked him up with Mark Andrews. Really thought he was going to do something. I did have some other stacks with Marquise Brown. With this one, I probably should have stuck with the Marquise Brown because then I stacked him with Sutton. I should have done Brown and then Fant here. Unfortunately, I didn't. However, I was high on this Washington Atlanta game, so I went with Cordell Patterson here. Actually, I went with Terry McLaurin. And then I went with Cordell Patterson. I was really trying to pay down because I was paying up for some of these other guys. I think I did leave some money on the table with this one. I'm not exactly sure. But Lamar Jackson was like under 1% owned. DeAndre Swift was little owned. Not too crazy like some of the other super chalk. Patterson was like 6% owned, so he was fantastic. Deontay Johnson was very low owned. Cortland Sutton was maybe 6. Waddle was maybe 9 or 10%. Mark Andrews was cheap and low owned as well. And then Terry McLaurin was pretty low owned too. It wasn't crazy low owned, but I mean, he wasn't like the super chalk like Devontae Adams or Cooper Kupp or anything like that. So I definitely think this wasn't too bad of a roster construction. I think I did kind of just miss on some of these. Had I gotten exposure to Brown and Fant, it would probably been a better lineup. But I did have Deontay Johnson here, put up 24. Cordell Patterson obviously popped off, so did Terry McLaurin, and I really wanted exposure to this game here. I was on Jalen Waddle for the sheer amount of targets that he gets on a weekly basis, but he did not perform well for me. And obviously Lions D, I kind of went with Lions D most of my just because they're cheap and against Justin Fields, I figured they would do something. Turns out the Jets were the ones who wanted to actually go to. They put up 7, so better than 3, I guess. So we'll take a look at another one down here that won at least something. This one here, I won 6. So I went Jacoby Brissett, and then I stacked him with Waddle and Gesicki. Ran it back with Michael Pittman. Pittman was decently low owned. I think he was under 5%. Waddle, again, I thought he was going to just be able to put up some decent points for me, maybe like close to 15, but he didn't do too well. Gesicki was the one that caught the touchdown. Had to put in like Devontae Parker rather than Waddle, that would have been better. But it did not. Then I went with Tyreek Hill, and then I stacked him with Devontae Smith and ran it back. Fantastic plays here. I definitely think across the board, you really wanted. Obviously, he was in the optimal lineup. I think Devontae Smith might have been, or even as a one-off, Hill would have been fantastic. He was also like 7 or 8% owned, I think. And based on like the Devontae Adams chalk, the Cooper Kupp chalk, Tyreek Hill was the fantastic pivot. And then obviously DeAndre Hopkins didn't do too much. So Hill was the go-to here with putting up a 50 burger, which is fantastic. I did put in Chuba Hubbard. I really thought he was going to be able to do something against Dallas. He was not. I thought he was going to get the Christian McCaffrey treatment. He did not. So definitely Cordell Patterson would have been the one to go to. But it is what it is on that one. And obviously Lions D again. So, and then here we do have the Cordell Patterson. but we don't have the Terry McLaurin. I did stack Cooper Kupp with Rondale Moore, and then I went. Did I not have the craziest? Yeah, I guess I didn't have any crazy run backs. I think I was gonna go with Nyheim Hines, and then maybe like another Dolphin here just as the stack, but I guess not. So like I had I gone to Cup, or had I gone Hill rather, I could have maybe transit, because Dawson Knox was obviously a fantastic play as well. I wish I would have had him in more lineups, to be honest. I should have known they're just going to kill the Houston Texans. I did have Sutton. I did have the Jets, who put up 7 sacks, which isn't too bad. So they put up your 7 points for you there. And at the cheapest defense, I mean, you can't ask for anything more. Rondale Moore and Cooper Kupp obviously didn't do too much. I think this game was just mega chalk, and you thought that you were going to be able to get a lot of this offense, and it just really weren't. And then Stafford only put up 20 points, obviously. So I had to go with Taylor Heineke with McLaurin, then Patterson, right? And then Henry, Dawson Knox, and then even if I wanted to stick with Courtland Sutton, right, I could have changed Michael Pittman to Marquise Brown, and then I would have had a pretty fantastic lineup there, because they definitely put up a decent bit. And you don't really, sorry, I was about to yawn. You don't really want to stack a defense with a run back, especially if it's going to be a running back, because if they're just going to pound the defense down, then you don't really want to see this one down here. But I just figured they're the cheapest, and Henry's going to run in it for a touchdown, but they don't have anybody out in the backfield. And Tennessee is just whack recently, and they got beat by the Jets, so it is what it is. Let's see if I have anything else I could see. Oh, Corey Davis was another good play. My buddy did say stay away from the Jets, but I wasn't trusting that. So I did put in Corey Davis here. I did have Marquise Brown. Like I said, I had Courtland Sutton, didn't do too much. I did have Kareem Hunt, which wasn't too bad. I had Gesicki, but I ran him back with Pittman. So these weren't terrible. This wasn't a terrible lineup. I just kind of busted on Sutton and Michael Pittman here. I didn't have Tyreek Hill. I didn't have the 31 points that Jalen Hurts put up. I didn't have the Cordero Patterson stack with McLaurin. So those things kind of hurt, but I've got the general idea of it. I think obviously as the weeks progress, hopefully I'll get better and better. Yeah. So, I mean, that is what it is. Like I said, I'm playing in super crazy high field GPPs, so I'm maybe going to stick to more single entry or like 3 max this week, just to make sure that I can at least cash, and not just like I'm pretty sure 138 would min cash in a single entry, and so I would at least be able to make some money back here. But you have to make over like 140 or something like that, or 150 just to even get min cash. So it's pretty tough with these super large field GPPs, when you're playing against like 100,000 people. So that's for that. Hopefully you can take away something from these lineup constructions. Like this one here, I had Ridley, McLaurin, right? That's the stack right there with Heineke, and also Curtis Samuel, who I thought was going to be able to do something. Then I had Devontae Adams and Najee Harris, and then I just put in Gesicki and then Swift. Hoping they were going to be able to do something. Obviously, Gesicki did, and then Swift busted. But it is what it is. Had to put in rather than Ridley, you had to put in Cordell Patterson. This probably would have been a way better lineup, and then maybe just X out Curtis Samuel for someone else cheaper, and then went Giants. But I mean, you can always say I should have done this, but it doesn't matter. You got to do it. When you're actually doing the tournament, or else it doesn't really freaking matter. And I did have Swift with the Lions. I thought they were going to be able to do something against Justin Fields, but I was clearly wrong. So that's the lineups. That's a review. Like I said, I'm hoping to do better. Hoping next week I can at least show you guys some more plays I did, some good, big brain stuff. I did have Crowder as well here against Henry with the run back. So I didn't entirely bust on that, but just again, some of these plays I just miss. Cortland Sutton, one game he misses, and I catch the game that he does. DeAndre Swift, one game he doesn't do too well, and I catch the game he does. So had any of these guys gone off like I hoped they would, I definitely would have cashed a bit more. But you can always hindsight's always 2020. So, but yeah, here we're gonna look at the first look. Just an early Monday look here. I'll kind of talk about some of the games I'm already interested in. New England, Houston. We know the Houston sucks. We know that New England is going to be able to put up something. So they're one I'm going to be looking at because I definitely think their ownership is going to go kind of under the radar as compared to some of these other games. Detroit, Minnesota. Dalvin Cook. I mean, he's the number one guy there, and he's going to be able to put up massive numbers against Detroit. Obviously, it's going to be a pretty large price tag, but I'm pretty sure you can make it if you find some cheap options. New England and Washington. We know that Washington sucks compared to based on last week and also the weeks before. We saw that Daniel Jones was able to put up a crazy game against them. Matt Ryan was able to put up a crazy game against them. So can Jameis Winston do it? We'll see. Hopefully, Alvin Kamara can get some dumps out of the backfield. But any of those, like Juwan James, Marquez Callaway, any of those guys would probably be good as just like single stacks, maybe with like a McLaurin run back or like a McKissick or something like that. Miami and Tampa Bay, we know that Tom Brady is going to be able to smash them. I do like Fournette in this game just because I don't think Miami is that good against the run. We saw that Jonathan Taylor was able to get some decent runs in. Nothing too crazy, but he was able to score. And if Fournette's able to score because he's the dude out of that backfield, then it would be pretty fantastic for him. And then on the Miami side, probably something like a Gesicki, maybe again. I definitely think that Tampa Bay has a good front four, and they're going to have to dump the ball off pretty quick. And Gesicki's probably going to be one of those guys to do it. Green Bay and Cincinnati, Devontae Adams obviously in a smash spot right here. Denver, Pittsburgh, I'll probably stay away from this one. Maybe just kind of get maybe like a Deontay Johnson again just because of his crazy target share. Philadelphia and Carolina, this is going to be one of the games that people are going to be targeting. It's going to be a shootout. We know how good Jalen Hurts is. We saw how good Sam Darnold is doing. DJ Moore, Devontae Smith, any of those guys are going to be good to put in there. And maybe this is going to be the game for Chuba Hubbard. We'll never know. So Tennessee and Jacksonville, it's Jacksonville, it's Tennessee. There's going to be points put on the board. Who's it going to go to? Is it going to go in the air attack with A.J. Brown and Julio Jones, or Marvin Jones and Laviska Shenault with DJ Shark out? I think those are going to be fantastic plays. Or is it going to go to Henry? Is James Robinson ever going to be able to put up a decent game like he did against Cincinnati? We shall see. We'll look for more news, obviously, throughout the week for this game. Chicago and Las Vegas. If Josh Jacobs plays, he's going to be a good play. But if he doesn't, Peyton Barber is going to be a great play as well, just because of his price tag. I think he's only like 51 or 52, something like that around there. And then obviously David Montgomery, he's going to be out for a little bit. So any of the the second in line guys would be probably good to put in as well, just as a cheap option. And then these three games here, I'm going to be kind of focusing on in a lot of my lineups. Obviously, Cleveland and Los Angeles. I do like this game the most. I know that when Baker Mayfield gets into high-scoring games, he really finds a groove, and he's going to be throwing the ball quite a bit to his pass catchers, and obviously some Kareem Hunt at the backfield as well. Because I do think they're going to be trailing in this one with obviously Mike Williams and Keenan Allen and Justin Herbert. So all these fantastic guys. I do think that Cleveland's going to be playing catch up for a lot of the game. And that's definitely something I want to get a lot of exposure to. San Francisco and Arizona, Deebo Samuel was able to pop off, and then Arizona is obviously Arizona. I don't think they're going to have those crazy level Jalen Hurts corners as the Rams do. San Francisco has kind of a middling cornerback, like secondary. So I think DeAndre Hopkins is in play this week. I definitely think Rondale Moore is, maybe even Christian Kirk. AJ Green was seeing a lot of targets, so him and Max Williams are doing pretty well. So you can kind of choose any of those guys just based on like where you can fit them in. And then the Giants and Dallas. If Daniel Jones has his pass catchers back and like Shepard and Darius Slayton, then I definitely think they're going to be in smash spots. Dallas allows a ton of points, but they also put up a ton of points themselves. and the Giants aren't that good on defense regardless. They obviously do have Bradbury to maybe shut down like CeeDee Lamb or Amari Cooper, but then they're just going to go right to the ground game with Ezekiel Elliott. And Ezekiel Elliott has been looking pretty good so far. So we're going to do a quick first look lineup here. I know I said I'm going to be tackling this Giants and Dallas game. I could also maybe, because we saw what Daniel Jones was able to put up against New Orleans on Sunday. He put up 30 points. I mean, he threw for 40 times, completed 28, threw for 2 touchdowns, and obviously his little runs that he's got going on there. He put up 30 points. So, is this always going to be how it is? I do think he threw a great one to like 52-yard to John Ross, and I think he threw one to Saquon as well. So, can Heineke do that? Sure. Is he as good of a QB as Jones? I don't think so, but Heineke was able to show some some game in him against Atlanta, but that was Atlanta and this is New Orleans. But he's obviously going to go low owned again, so you probably could go back to him and then maybe stack him with like a McLaurin and then run it back with like Alvin Kamara. That'd be pretty good. Trevor Lawrence against Tennessee would be nice as well. But like I said, I do like this Cleveland-Los Angeles game. So rather than Baker Mayfield, I think I'm going to stay upwards of the top guys up here just for their point projection. And so I definitely think we're going to go here with Justin Herbert. Then we're instantly going to go for Mike Williams and probably Keenan Allen here. And then because I want to run it back with Kareem Hunt. Because like I said, I think they're going to be trailing. And I definitely think that Kareem Hunt is going to be utilized quite well in that backfield. And then another guy I kind of talked about against Miami here, Rojo is not doing just about jack squat. He ran for 6 times for 25 yards and a touchdown, but they just gave him the touchdown because it is what it is, and they didn't really need it, I guess, for Fournette. But Fournette's the guy. I mean, Fournette ran for, I believe, 20 attempts for 91. Obviously, if he would have gotten that touchdown, it would have put him up to maybe 22, 23 plus points. Plus, he got 5 targets out the backfield, 3 for 47 is fantastic as well. So I definitely think that Fournette is the guy. And at 5,200, he's very cheap. He's cheaper than Jamal Williams. He's cheaper than Michael Gordon. Alexander Mattison, who's not even seeing play right now because of Dalvin Cook. Damian Harris is actually not a bad play as well with James White out, but I definitely think they're utilizing this other guy, Brandon Bolden. And, he's obviously got the passing game, but Damian Harris, I mean, obviously against Tampa Bay is going to be tough, but against Houston, he could definitely see some decent yardage. He'd probably be someone I'm going to be looking at as well. Hopefully he goes a little low owned. We're going to go Fournette here. And then we're actually going to, I did like Gesicki last week, and I definitely think I'd like him this week again, especially with that defense that they have. I think Jacoby Brissett's going to have to kind of dump it off to somebody, and I think Gesicki's going to be one of those guys, either him or Waddle, but I'm going to take a take a gamble and put in Gesicki. And then here, I know I talked about the New England-Houston game as something I'm going to be tackling quite a bit, so we're actually going to go Brandon Cooks, because he's really freaking good, and he's got crazy target share throughout the last 4 weeks. Even against Buffalo, he saw 7 targets. Obviously, it's Buffalo. You're not going to get much against them, but he went for 5 for 47. So if he's against Houston or against New England, who is good but not as good as Buffalo, if he's able to see these 11 targets, 14 targets, and maybe dump in the end zone possibly on a long one, it'd be fantastic, and he's going to put up crazy points. So just based on target share and just the sheer volume, I'm definitely going to put him in. Quickly, we'll just put in the Washington Redskins against Jameis Winston. I don't trust Jameis with my life, and I would definitely like to see Washington at least get some picks. And then we're going to – I know it's kind of taboo to kind of run it back multiple times. And these guys are good. I mean, even like Devontae Smith I like here against Carolina. I'll probably have him in some of my lineups. Jamar Chase against Green Bay. Marvin Jones Jr. against Tennessee. But I think I'm going to stick here with Jacoby Myers. because, like I said, even his target share is pretty good, and he put up 16 points against Tampa Bay, and against Houston he can put up I don't even know way more, and hopefully a touchdown as well, considering he is Mac Jones' favorite target. So this is going to be the lineup. We got 300 left. It's a pretty good lineup for me. We got Justin Herbert running, stacking him with Michael Williams and Keenan Allen. You could probably stack them, maybe take one of these guys out. Maybe if you think Williams is going to be too high owned, you can stick with Allen and Eckler, because he's going to catch some balls from Justin Herbert, as we all know. He'll probably be in some variation of my lineups as well. And then we're going to run it back with Kareem Hunt. Then for a secondary stack, we're going to go Leonard Fournette and Mike Gesicki here. I do like this game. I do think that Tampa Bay is probably going to murder Miami, but Miami's going to have to do something. And they're going to have to tackle him through the air. And I definitely think Gesicki is going to be one of those guys to do it. And then we have Brandon Cooks and Jacoby Myers as another stack. You don't really have to do this. It could be one-offs. I probably will have some random one-offs, but I just do like their sheer volume. And then we have the Washington football team here, just as a cheap defense that I think can hopefully hold their own against New Orleans. So yeah, that's going to be the first look lineup. Look forward to hopefully another video. I know I didn't do one last week, but that was just like a little fluke. I was just a little busy, but I will be doing one this week. Catch it probably Thursday or Friday. And yeah, hopefully you can take this lineup or take some of this roster construction that I've been doing and put it into your own lineups and maybe come out with something on top. I am trying to get contrarian and obviously trying to do make better lineups and roster construction just based on the fundamentals. Hopefully this week I'll be able to take home some more cash that I did last time. But look for more here at the MKDFS YouTube channel. Consider subscribing, maybe liking, sharing it, something like that. Helps me out. Anyways, thank you so much, guys.